Welcome to Corn Coast Conversations. I am your host, the illest in Nebraska, HAKIM. I'm here to bring you content from all angles of life as a father, recording artist, entrepreneur, and CEO. I'm here to spark conversations from politics, conspiracies, music, culture, and current events. Join me on this journey through the lens of my human experience from right here in the Corn Coast. I'm excited to have you all along for the marathon.
Okay, so can you tell me a little bit about how Corn Coast Company started and what inspired you to create both a barbershop and a clothing brand?
I've always had a love and passion for both, truthfully, and they kind of came around the same time around when I was in the 6th grade. But fast forward, they've always been like a cornerstone, just a glue to my pace of life. And then essentially, opening up Corn Coast came out of scarcity. I left my family business to do something else. This wasn't necessarily in the plans. I had to figure something out quick. Financially, things weren't going as I intended, and then it made the most sense to open up a facility that facilitated all of my endeavors, my dreams, my passions. So when I opened up the barbershop was the focal point, and then I had so much room for everything else, and I incorporated everything else and just made it work.
Awesome. So when did you originally start then?
2019.
Okay.
So yeah, in
awesome.
About a week or so, we're gonna be on a 6-year anniversary.
Awesome, congratulations,
Yeah,
that's so exciting.
Yeah,
so what have been like some challenges, or like at the beginning, what were some challenges and then leading you to get here?
Yeah, financially starting up, I didn't have the capital. So through the course of years, I really learned about credit, loans, everything like that. So my financial intelligence really inclined through the years. That was one of the biggest things. Other than that, it's always a little tricky working with people, trying to always bring in the best group that will fit synonymously with my vision, my goals, and just where I want to head, and the environment that we want to have here and have to portray. Other than that, the rest of it's been really fun. It's been fun. It hasn't been too many. Obviously, there's lessons in everything, but it's in hindsight, it's been a really good trip and a really good journey.
That's
been learning a lot along the way.
Good.
Yeah.
What have been like some of your favorite moments or best moments throughout the 6 years?
Stopping to smell the roses. I've been so much in it that sometimes it's hard for me. Like one of my favorite quotes, when you're in the jar, you can't read the label. So I've been in the jar so much, and when I finally get to step out the jar and see what I've created through the course of years, especially how it started versus where we are now and where I am now, those are my favorite parts, just sitting and reflecting, like, dang, like all the things that I didn't think that I was gonna get past, and it's like everything that I thought was bad ended up being the greatest thing that I've been through, and the things that I've learned and the things that made me who I am today. So just stopping to smell the roses.
That's great.
Yeah.
Okay. What does the name Corn Coast mean to you, and how does it reflect Lincoln or Nebraska culture?
The name itself, as long as the slogan that we got right back there along the wall. Corn Coast, make waves where there's no ocean. I wanted to heavily build up Nebraska. It's where I'm from. Earlier in my career, I've always gotten, as a recording artist as well, just like, man, if you want to make it big, you got to go to one of the bigger cities, one of the bigger hubs like Cali, Atlanta, East Coast, whatever it may be. And I just always had this strong passion and inclination that, no, I'm going to do it here. And that's really where the slogan came along, was the make waves where there's no ocean. I'm going to be the change that I want to see. I'm going to create the thing that I want to have right here. So the Corn Coast it just goes hand in hand with who I am and what I want to be. I just want to brand Nebraska in a different way, in my own little way, and you know, people are standing behind it. So I always say I'm literally just getting my feet wet. I feel like the 6 years that we've been open, and you know, this being the anniversary, I feel like in about 5-6 months will be like day one for me, like fresh start. So all this just been feeling like I've been crawling. Now I'm getting ready to walk and run here in a little bit.
Yes. So how would you say you've seen your brand evolve and actually implement your mission and identity in your brand?
Yeah. I would say it's developed quite the identity, and it's gotten to the point where, and I know I can say this for me, obviously, but I've noticed that when people buy pieces from the clothing or when people come to support, it feels a little bit different than just buying Nike, it's like somebody you know, somebody that you can see that he materialized his vision right here in front of us. So when they wear it, it's more of an identity, it's more of a passion behind it. And it's kind of like the air dry lifestyle that we have with the clothing. It's air dry, we maintain quality here. So yeah, that's kind of the biggest thing. You guys can come on in. Yeah, it's one of the biggest things that I wanted to incorporate with the brand.
That's awesome. So yeah. How would you define Lincoln's streetwear or fashion scene like right now?
It's in a very premature stage, but we definitely have plenty of people that are, making waves. So I'm starting to see a lot of people really getting it done and really starting out. So it's hard to say where we will be, but I know Nebraska is always a growing city by the year. So we're going to catch up. We always say we're about 4 or 5 years behind, but I'm starting to see people really taking things into their own hands and just kind of just creating and not waiting on, another big brand to come here from out of state. I see people starting to, brand themselves and brand their own vision.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. And then what styles, themes, or messages inspire your clothing designs?
Really me, and that's always been a big thing behind everything that I've done, whether it's music, clothing, the barbershop. You can always see breadcrumbs of me within, my business. So, just something, like I said, just quality, integrity. You see the creativeness, the creativity within the brand. Just, I don't know, everything that really inspires me in life is what I try to incorporate. I've had drops where it's just completely organic teas, as a, somebody that's pretty holistic like I am. Yeah, just trying to stay on the toes, trying to stay innovative, trying to keep things refreshing and new, and then keeping things on brand to what Nebraska is. You see corn husks themes throughout my brand. You see corn, the logo, and yeah.
That's great. You talked about it a little bit earlier, but was there ever a specific moment that really struck you, like you wanted to do this and you wanted to pursue it and move forward?
Yeah, and it was before I opened up the Corn Coast Company facility. It was when I launched my first t-shirts. I was probably a year or two out of high school. I designed this 2 designs, and they kind of took off. My little brothers were in school. I was selling t-shirts at school to their friends, so I would send them to school with the orders and you let them know how much money you got to bring back to me. And a lot of other people I was dropping off orders at people's houses and stuff like that. And that was the first time it really clicked, okay, make the tees, get the money, and scale. So yeah.
That's awesome. How did you design them? Was there a program or just?
I drew them by hand.
Okay.
I drew them by hand and then scanned them into the printer copier, essentially. So
cool.
I just had this. Yeah, it was the abstract triangle and then the R code is what I call it. So I made essentially a barcode with, I spelled our society. It was my music label with numbers and letters. And I remember drawing it all. I think I still have the original copies to this day. And I scanned them and then I used, I think it was the Paint program on Microsoft. And then I colorized it and then got them into Screen Ink online, and then they printed them off, screen printed them, sent them to me in the mail, and was writing down people's orders on paper, and yeah.
That's awesome. Cool. Yeah. Quite the process. Okay.
It was.
How do you see fashion, music, and art overlapping in Lincoln?
They're all synonymous to me, and that's a big reason why I've created the Corn Coast Company facility to have the ecosystem that it does have. They all feed and they all intertwine the culture of music, clothing.
Come with me, and you'll be in a world of your imagination. Reach out,
Please take your pizza.
what was once just in your
the haircuts, it's all synonymous. When people come in, usually the atmosphere that we have sets the tone with the music. The fashion that people wear when they're coming in. I see people all the time, my clients, like, I like those shoes, I like those. And then it's just all intertwines, and it's all synonymous, and they're all alleys to where you can self-express. So
Great.
yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Kind of answered a lot of them. What role does community play in shaping Corn Coast Company's style and message?
Community plays a big part because you want to scale in a sense to where you're reaching as many people as you can reach, at the same time converting them into purchasing your product. But at the same time, again, you want to keep things on brand, and it's kind of like the music for me as well. It's sure, you can be a stop sign on every corner, or you can be a piece of art that people have to go out their way to go get. And I'd rather create something that's more of, if you know, you know. So, you know, hypothetically, say if I see somebody out of state and they have a Corn Coast shirt on or something like that, it's going to be not just because I own the brand, but even if, you know, one of my associates may see that, like, yo, I seen somebody out of state, and it's more of like, how did you get that shirt? Or like, do you know HAKIM? Like, it's more of a, in what way are you associated with the brand? Because it just sticks out a little bit more. So, and that holds true to anybody that creates a brand. It like I said, the identity that belongs with the brand, it holds weight, it holds meaning. So, yeah.
Absolutely. Okay. And then how do you balance Nebraska's Midwest roots with modern streetwear influences?
That's it's a bit nuanced, just because my story growing up in Nebraska is just a little different. I was born and raised, but also being exposed to certain things, different classes, obviously different races and stuff, just different high schools. Just my experience, just like anybody else's, was just a little bit different. So also trying to collaborate to what is Nebraska with the Cornhuskers, with football, with everything that makes Nebraska, and again, just essentially making it hip. So I had to figure out a very innovative way, let alone the name itself, the Corn Coast. I wanted it to be something that was witty, catchy enough, and I see all the time when I'm wearing Corn Coast, and I see people that are not even amongst my age group, way older than me, 50s, 60s, and they read the shirt and they stop me like, what is that? Corn Coast, I love it. Like, when they get the name and it clicks for them, and I'm like, yeah, make waves where there's no ocean. It's just all like, wow, I like that. So I had to just be innovative and think outside the box. Like, okay, what is in Nebraska? Corn, football. How can we make it cool, and how can you bring your own approach to the table? And that was my biggest challenge. And once I really realized in what way I was going to pull up my seat to the table, it gave me the confidence to design the way I wanted freely, and really just culminate everything and really define what is Corn Coast for me.
Yes, absolutely. And going off that, you said, like, with figuring out that sense of community, what do you want to see your brand become in the future and continue to be?
I want a quarter of the state to have a piece of Corn Coast in their closet. I want Corn Coast to truly be a household name. I want it to be a name that people use, that they will use in the near future when they're referencing Nebraska. Whether it's, they don't even have to buy a piece of the product, but if Nebraska also is known as the Corn Coast, whether it's on ESPN or any college sports or anything that's being referenced as Nebraska, it can be interchanged with the Corn Coast. And that's how I really would love to see the brand grow. And we'll get there in due time. Like I said, as soon as I get up and start walking and running, we're going to get there very soon.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Okay, and then do you feel like Lincoln's fashion scene is growing or changing? And if so, how?
It is both. It is both. Like I said, we're always behind, but one beautiful thing is why I loved being in Nebraska is because essentially since we're in the middle of the map, we are the biggest melting pot of influence from every single, from the north, south, east to west. We're influenced by it all. So I see people incorporate those styles here, and by the time, it's like a game of telephone, by the time it makes makes it to Nebraska, it the way it's shaped and morphed, and then we put our own little twist on it. It's really a beautiful thing, and you won't see it really anywhere else. The Midwest has a very unique, just a layer to that layer of fashion. Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay. And then what do you wish more people understood about the creative or entrepreneurial side of fashion here?
Let me think on that one.
Or just about fashion in general in Nebraska? Or
Yeah. I would love people to realize that there's no game, there's no rules, there's no law to fashion. Just throw that shit on and be confident with it. Truthfully, that's one of the biggest things that I learned. I learned the more confidently you can wear something, the more people are going to see the artistry in it. I think a lot of people get caught up with like, oh, well, if you're wearing white shoes, it gotta be white socks, and you gotta have, XYZ, and the top gotta be, there's no rules to it. Just throw some shit on, and if it expresses you and how you feeling for the day, wear that shit, and wear it with a badge of honor, and things like that catch on. And those are the things that I always notice when I'm out in public, and I'll compliment people like, I like the way you wear your hair. I like your shoes. I just like your fit, because again, it's a version of self-expression. So if you just like everybody else, then it's hard for me to pinpoint what exactly it is that you're expressing, and what exactly it is, where'd you came from. I like to see people express themselves in a way that it's like, you're unique. Like, what's your background? Where do you come from? Are you from here? Like, I often get asked, like, where are you from? Like, I'm from here. Like, but I don't look like I'm from here, because I do things in my own way, as everybody should. And I think when we were children, we kind of got that stripped away from us. Like, oh, don't wear your socks this way, or oh, don't wear. It's like I said, put that shit on there and wear it with confidence.
Yeah, it's like a way to get to know people and form a community too. So,
100%.
Okay, you talked a little bit about what's next for your company, but are there any upcoming projects or goals that you're excited about?
Yeah, now that I have a manufacturer and I'm not doing all the labor, really virtually none of the labor in-house anymore, I'm able to grow and expand much quicker. So I have access to different materials. I have the efficiency is quicker. So my next step is to really start kind of going in the route of brand ambassadors, really getting people into pieces, and yeah, just more scaling, more growing. It's really just the needle of the compass is always kind of pointing in that direction. I don't really make too many. By January of this year, I'm gonna have this. I know exactly where I'm heading and where I want to go, and I get greeted with opportunities along the way, and I call them downloads. I always get downloads when it's time. Like I know when it's time to make a decision. I know it's time to move in a certain direction. I know when it's time to make a certain piece, and I think that's a lot of the art that I incorporate within the clothing, music, and everything that I do is it's kind of just a reflection of what I'm going through in life, and yeah, my style. Like as I'm getting older, I'm into different things, so I like to make drops that incorporate that. So I don't necessarily go out and be like, oh, what are all the young kids doing? I keep an ear to the streets and I keep an eye to the trends, but I don't necessarily do them. I take little pieces that inspire me and inspire others, and then again, I put how can I make this Corn Coast? And that's just kind of how I maneuver and move.
That's great.
Yeah.
Okay, is there anything else that you'd like to add that I didn't ask you about? Just always want to ask at the end, but.
No.
Okay, great.
Yeah, no, I think it
well,
was
I
a really
appreciate
good
you taking the time to do this. You
Yeah, for
great,
sure.
great insights and
Yeah.
everything too. So.
Yeah, I appreciate you coming out and
Awesome.
taking the time to hear and see what's going on over here. So,
Yeah, very interesting. I love to hear all of it. So.
Yeah.
Do you get to
Cool.
do anything with the recording, or is it just for fun?
No, I have a podcast. It's called Corn Coast Conversation. So
cool.
I might throw it
Okay.
on there, and I'll probably throw some clips on social media. If that's all right
awesome.
with you.
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely. No,
for
that's
sure.
great. It's
But yeah,
great practice for me too, because I'm like more broadcasting and
word. Okay,
is
yeah.
what I kind of want to do in
Yeah.
public relations. So
All right,
yeah. So
Cool,
thank
cool.
you so much.
Yeah,
This
no
was
problem at all,
awesome.
for sure. Yeah.